I want to come home, I want to come home.
Why on earth would you go to someone's event and the first thing you decide to comment on is how this event looks a lot like yours? I wanted to chastise Annie, but man, when I saw Zari's man, I just had to keep mute. Annie was just wrong making all the comparisons for the comment about Shakib. I don't know about that. That is spitting fact.
It's easy for him to get carried away and forget the things that are important.
I just didn't think she had to say it out. I think she had a point, but it was just the way she said it. Because I mean, I don't want to spill the tea at the end of episode 8, but yes, she predicted right. If you see what happened in episode 8 and you're seeing what is being talked about on the blogs, you just know that what Annie said was just fact. She just didn't go about it the right way, and saying it out just that way on the person's special day, I feel she should have given her the benefit of doubt.
Like, am I ready to be a father to 5 kids?
Shakib did not properly assess what he was getting himself into. This is a boss chick. Have you seen her ex? Stroke baby daddy, as in his followers on Instagram alone way surpasses yours, Shakib. I am not saying that is a benchmark to compare and all that, but I'm just saying that he's known all over the world and is super rich. Plus, she has babies with this man. It ain't going to be easy dealing with all of this. And did Shakib really prep himself and prepare his mind for what he was getting involved in? To make it worse, she is way older. That is not a benchmark, like I said, but she has a lot going on, and regardless of how hard this is and would have been hard either ways, did Shakib really think about what he was getting involved with? Because this is going to be a lot. Don't be deceived, the show is young, famous, and African, but man, that woman Zari and young at all. Well, nobody is young on that show. Okay, let's get into the gist. Let me not digress. We'll take the review step by step from episode 1, 2, 3, and 4. Give you the tea in every episode. Then I'll make another video for episode 5, 6, 7, and 8. Episode 1 of Young, Famous, and African opens with Zari's wedding. Like you know by now, Zari is getting married to her boo, Shakib Lutaya. Zari 44 and Shakib 33. Well, rumor has it that he's 27, but hey, let's skip that. Now, the highlights of this episode was first when Annie made the comment about her wedding looking exactly like Zari's, but hers was better. Then she went ahead to say all sorts of things about Shakib and that she fears for him. That I felt was valid fear, but it was just the way she put it and how she said it on that day. Why open up and not just keep your opinions to yourself? A lot of people have backlashed her and I won't go into it. Let's get into the tea. Then there was Lois, or Louise, as they say it in the series. Man, I was starting to love Louis after his confession of his background and how he was cast out and all. But what he did in this new season blew me off. He attends the wedding with a +1 and tells the friend that he is seeing someone and that person is seated right beside him. And then Kefilwe Maboti, a new addition to the friends, walks in and Lois goes like, she's fire. And these compliments and all. And I go like, bro, don't you have someone already? Ain't you already taken? What's going on? What is wrong with you, Lois? Can you not just focus on one person? The fact that you're thinking about all the surrogacy and things like that doesn't mean that you should go about seeing everybody as surrogacy material.
Because I feel like you just like everybody.
Well, Kefilwe was invited by Swanky, But Kefilwe comes extremely late and Zari is not having it at all. She's pissed and ready to address this, especially as Kefilwe comes in just when Zari is making a speech and Kefilwe interrupts that. Another highlight in the episode that made people think so lowly of Annie, which I agreed to this point, was when she asked Zari, why did you invite me? As in, you don't need to be giving reasons for being invited. You had a choice to come or not. And the fact that you came, I think Zari equally had the right to ask, why did you hand her the invitation in the first place? Because somebody invites you and you feel because you're beefing them, she had no right to invite you and yet you came. What is wrong with Annie? I love her because sometimes she is very open and she's very honest with some of the things she says, in as much as it is sometimes a lot misconstrued and people think she is just going overboard, which I don't think otherwise. She goes overboard with her opinions, but if you critically look at her opinions on the other side, you get to realize that these are really valid opinions. Well, to some extent, I feel she's very hypocritical because first, you criticize this person behind her back, then you sound all sarcastic when you're giving the mic, and you make it look as though you love her. That little speech of Annie that she saw nothing wrong with, I saw everything wrong. That speech was needless. You needed not to talk at all. Annie just loves to talk. She just loves to blab. And like I always say, if you like to talk, you talk a lot of no nonsense. So yeah, Zari did not invite Diamond, according to Diamond, but we all see on the table, I think the table close to Fantana or Fantana's table, I guess, Diamond's name is written boldly there. So why is Diamond saying that he wasn't invited? But then he comes to explain that the invitation letter he got wasn't handed to him personally by Zari, and he felt that wasn't invitation enough. Bro, you don't expect the bride to walk up to you to give you an invitation letter in person and do what at your apartment or wherever she meets you? For what? Regardless of your relationship with her, that was needless. Well, Nadia and Annie's first fight was just not necessary. They go back at each other and the back to back with the insult I felt was needless, but these two are at each other's throat. Annie shouldn't have started with all that insult. She should have been a bigger person. This is an older woman at your level and you're still throwing low blow insults. Ew. But I just think that this season didn't just do it for me because we want drama here. When we want to watch these movies, we want drama. But what we don't want is when there's too much of it. Too much of everything is bad. We needed to see more of their lives, more of their family, and a lot. We didn't even get to see so much of the love, the emotional connection between Zari and Shakib, and I feel that was to the lowest minimal. And that alone, I feel this season was purposely just to make us see too much fights and arguments, and that was so toxic. And that I think is the reason Kenny and Andile didn't make it back into the season. But well, we move. And then Zari goes hard on Annie. That scene was a real hit for Annie because that was what pushed her to go out of the season for a while. She had to go home. She called her family and told them that she's tired. But yeah, let me not digress. Let me not get ahead of myself. Let's move on.
And your man is almost 50 and he's running around sleeping with 20-year-olds.
Well, there is Fantana, and I feel she's playing herself. Diamond clearly states that he just doesn't see the need to tell Fantana the truth about all the women in his life.
Do not expect me to tell Fantana the truth or I'm not seeing someone. I'm seeing people.
Diamond went on and on and on about Fantana being the only woman in his life. I just didn't get how Fantana couldn't see through all of that. But yeah, I just think that if this is really genuine, Fantana probably was so much in love she didn't see, but it can't be that bad.
Forever and ever, no matter what.
And then in episode 3, Annie and Swanky revisit the voice note issue. I think the latter part of season 2, Annie and Swanky had an issue where they were arguing about this whole voice notes where Swanky says he has video proof of a voice note where Annie was saying all sort of ill things about Swanky, and they revisit that, and I go like, really? Can these people not start new fights? What's with the back and forth on the same issue? I thought they settled that issue and both of them cried and blah blah blah, and all that was just giving me staged vibes, like they had to follow a certain script because you can't just be going back and forth on the same issue. But then Fantana mentions she's missed her period for 2 weeks. You're having a baby. You're having a baby, Diamond. Well, that is not confirmed, but of course, Fantana is excited about having a baby, Diamond. But girl, you don't want to do this. I said you don't want to be baby mama number 55. Diamond is not ready for commitment. Not at all.
I mean, I'm pregnant. I don't know.
She doesn't see it, and Nadia tries to talk her into not being so excited about it. But I feel if the deed is done, then there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, you can't be pregnant with Diamond's baby.
But then, like I said earlier, Annie is done. She's tired. She's worn out, and all the emotional stress, she feels she needs to go home and reflect. So she takes a leave and goes back home because she calls her family, and yeah, she goes back home. She's out of all this basbos. That was when I realized that all this toxicity can be very tiring. And even Annie, that started most of it, is even tired. Can these people stop and just have one very peaceful party? For the first time in this season, in this movie, none of the parties they ever had was peaceful. Most of them ended in one physical fight or abuse or argument or something, and it was so tiring. And then again in episode 4, we see Kanye. I missed her. Just comes to visit Nadia. Well, she speaks to Nadia, and Nadia tells her everything that is happening, and she just comes to see her and give her some love. And yeah, I think it worked because it really helped to cheer Nadia up a lot. Okay, now before we move on, I want you to take a look at this hug. Take a look closely at this hug. Which part of this hug is giving brother love or brother vibes, or this is my brother, this is my sister vibes? As saying, a married woman. How can Zari be telling me that this is just a harmless hug with Louis? Shakib is not having it, and Louis sees nothing about it. Everybody sees everything wrong about it. And oh no, there was a lot going on in this season. Well, away from all this drama, our latest addition and Queen Bee was added, and Swanky goes to pick her up from the airport. Iniedo opens up about her life and surrogacy. Like you would have it, Louis is excited about it, and he decides to pursue his own surrogacy and take it more seriously this time around. Well, I feel this season, or the first part of the season, was a lot of drama, and I'm hoping that in 5, 6, 7, 8, a lot of resolutions would come and things would get better. But meet me in the next video for all the tea in episode 5, 6, 7, 8 of Young, African, and Famous, that are not actually young, probably not so African, and most likely not so famous. Alright, so get all the tea in the next video, and drop in the comment section what you think about it. If you've seen it already, if you binged watch all seasons already, what do you think about it? And what do you make of Fantana and Diamond's relationship, Annie leaving, and Zari's marriage? I don't think we should be judges of it, but how she is treating Shakib, I don't know what goes on the other side, but what she does publicly, I'm not loving it at all. Tell me in the comment section, and meet you in my next video. Screw.